What's happening, family? It's your main man, TJ Chatman, host of the TJ Chatman Show, and we are back with another episode. And today we're going to continue doing what we've done for the past 2 or 3 weeks now, which is talking about social injustice in America and the systemic failure within the justice system. And tonight we're going to talk about police reform. And joining me tonight is none other than the community advocate leader, Russell Drake. He's joining us on the set tonight. We're going to talk everything, policy, police reform, and what's needed to start that. And so before we begin, I know we've talked behind the scenes, and joining me to my right each and every week is the beautiful and talented Morgan Williams. You see her, Conceited, 08. You see it. So there's a lot of things that's been happening on social media that you've seen. White people taking a stance and wearing dashikis and different things, and a lot of people had a lot of things to say about that. Are they trying to take advantage of the opportunity to gain profit? Are they trying to get recognized? Like, I can.
Some people are. Like I said, I feel like the movement is turning into a trend. You know what I mean? Like, now it's popular to go to these marches to get your photo op. It's popular to speak out against it because they know they don't want to lose the black dollars or any dollars that are for the movement. So like, I more so appreciate the corporations and the businesses who are showing that we ain't for this shit y'all talking about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you don't really know the motive behind the ones that are, you know what I mean? And as far as them stoles go, like, at this point, this shit's turning into like a circus act. Like, everybody's trying to let's support the Negro, each other. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need y'all taking a knee. Because we not taking a knee because that's some positive shit. You know what I mean? Like, y'all don't need to be taking on knee. Y'all need to be trying to figure out how y'all gonna change the justice system and, try to put people in these positions on these police forces that are not going to be targeting and killing black men and black women out here in the streets and not, getting their due justice in the court system. You know what I mean? Because we know if you're black and people always talk about black on black crime. The difference is that our black ass is going to jail.
Oh yes, absolutely.
On site.
Immediately.
On site.
Your charge is on site.
And that's to add to your point, Morgan. I'm kind of getting exhausted about the people coming out and saying, "Oh, but what about black on black crime?" All right, what people are protesting is the fact that unlike black on black crime, when the police commit a crime, there's no arrest for it. Oftentimes, there's no prosecution. And to get an arrest or to have a trial, and sometimes even when you have a trial, you still don't get any prosecution. But to even get arrested, it's so slow. The process is so slow as opposed to when it's black on black, it's swift.
And not even that, because we don't get the benefit of the doubt. We don't get that. We don't get the benefit of the doubt that this may be a good person. This person may not be causing trouble. We don't even get the courtesy of the benefit of the doubt.
Even in your death, you don't get the benefit of the doubt. No. When you die, you a thug, you a murderer, you smoke weed in the first grade, all kind of just.
They take everything from your past.
They will sully a dead black man with the quickest. But if you here's another example of white privilege, but you can a white boy can shoot up a school and he'll be misunderstood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
he'll be misunderstood.
Because, they get the benefit of the doubt.
And he'll go to Burger King afterwards.
Well, first, let me thank you for having me, and all love for TJ Chatman Show and everything you continue to do. Y'all continue to get better and better every week. Seeing the great things, and y'all are reaching a great crowd. But just what you just said, see, we face 2 assassinations. George Floyd is assassinated and killed, a modern-day lynching. Then he's assassinated in his character.
Yes.
When you look up and you hear them talking about, he had a checkered past, he had shot some porn or something like that, and it's like
all of that.
Dead.
Yeah, all of that, so they can finish you in the courtroom.
They're attempting to.
It's
to demonize you. It's like, how can you demonize when he was laying face down?
In handcuffs.
He got demonized when 2 people had their knees in his back and one had his knee on his neck. and had the audacity to put his hand in his pocket to put his
It's
full
full
weight
weight.
on
Like,
Yeah.
like it was so casual.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I never thought in my lifetime that I'd see a lynching. You know, we hear
Right. We hear about it.
how terrible it was. I don't think that's the closest we'll ever come right there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like brought you to tears to look at it.
But two things, real quick, just to I just kind of want to just give another perspective on what Morgan said earlier. One, I do want us as Black people to be careful of discouraging support. You know, people gonna show you, whether you agree with it or not, people gonna show support in their own unique way, whether it's, you know, wearing, you know, the African scarves or whatnot. You may not have it, and it may look disingenuous or whatnot, you know, but what we must understand is, you know, although they might express it in a way that we may not agree with, we have the support that we need, and you don't want to attack people and get them to turn away, if you will.
Absolutely.
You know, so
that's a good point. See,
yeah,
we're all growing and learning at different levels.
Yes.
Different, and it doesn't even matter by age. It's just the maturity in it.
Yes.
And you know, it's like you choose to go in a direction. And for example, you know, Snoop Dogg just made a post where he said he's about to vote for the first time in his life.
Oh,
and I was
I
like,
seen that. Yeah.
You're almost 50 years old. You're just about to vote.
But
that's even amazing. So Snoop is almost 50, and you got to think Snoop didn't even get out and get a chance to go elect the first Black president.
I don't know.
He saw it happen. You know,
he never.
He
and that's amazing.
That's
in
amazing.
Itself. And so it's like we're constantly, you know, battling the, you know, social injustice that's in, you know, in America. And then you have people who are, you know, fighting against it, saying, you know, why y'all bringing this up? Why y'all doing this? Whatever the case may be. But it's like, you know, can you not see this? You know, what's the problem? Like, why are you always talking about this? And especially when we do Black Lives Matter, what's followed behind that? All lives matter.
I just told you because
people get it now.
Because we don't. It's like they feel. I think a lot of people just feel like y'all still talking about it, but it's like they don't. Just because it's not happening on a daily, it's happening, and you can't ignore it. You know what I mean? Like we can't ignore it because it's our community, it's our Black brothers and sisters that are out there being killed. So it's so easy for someone who doesn't have to endure that or have to even, you know, thoughts go. Like I said, we have our white allies that march with us, but they're marching because, and the last thing they're thinking is, I'm going to get killed by the police officer, because they know they're not going to. So it's like it's a different feeling for us because we know it's a danger for us out there because we're going to go to jail because we don't get the benefit of the doubt. So that's why you get that all lives matter stuff, because they feel like, well, what y'all crying about, what y'all complaining about, but it's like you will never understand.
Well, I have a different perspective on that. I think they know what time it is, and many people realize their privilege is slipping. The privilege that gets them out of stops, where we get questioned randomly at stops. The privilege where they get out of getting the DUI on 6 occasions. When if you just got a beer can in the car, they gonna search you and stuff and have you walk in a line and try to press you up and get you on something to see, you know, do you have any other charges? Have you been doing this? So they know their privilege is slipping. So they say all lives matter. They know it's gonna, you know, trying to cover the issue.
Right.
Because we tried to cover the issue for 400 years.
Wow.
In the whole nation. You know, racism is the original sin of the nation. And they know this. They know it. You know, they know it. And it's like they say there's a problem with protests when you can't be more American than protesting. That's the First Amendment.
Right.
Everybody talks about, my Second Amendment. But there's a first.
There's the first one before the second.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, peaceful protest, gathering, speaking, you know, they get mad about it.
Somebody else, to your point, added to that point, you know, you hear about people speaking out against violent protests. The Tea Party was a violent protest.
Absolutely.
They looted and dumped the tea
over in the water.
Yep.
You know, and it led
That's why I said we gotta stop.
it led to the Revolutionary War.
It doesn't. I mean, like we talk about history, and it's like like I don't even understand how people even making such a big deal. This shit been going on for decades.
And the sad part about it though is it's like I've used that as an example when I started seeing some of the people that I have on my on my friends list, but I'm a public figure, and so my page is public, so people come on and chime in and say what they want to say, and so when I bring facts up, they want to dump the facts. Oh, that's not the same on what y'all doing. Really? How is that not the same?
Well,
when they caused war, which is what? Violence. What's the difference? Because they felt they were being unjustly treated. So by the British. So guess what? The Patriots was like, hey, enough is enough.
I do believe that patriotism can be overly romanticized, and we do that a lot here. I had a discussion with a gentleman on Facebook where, he was somebody was anti-Confederate flag, if you will. That was the stance they took. They was like, we don't, we shouldn't have Confederate flags, public buildings, and they need to get rid of it altogether. That was, their remarks, and a person chimed in, and they were like, that would be un-American to make people get rid of the Confederate flag. So I chimed in and I explained to him that one of the most un-American things out here is the Confederate flag, because this was a group of people that seceded from the United States of America.
Yep.
And, the Constitution, as you know and love it today, they had a problem with it.
Yeah.
So they seceded from the USA, started their own Constitution.
Their own Constitution.
You know what I'm saying? And for those that think, oh, it's just my heritage or whatnot, shout out to Killer Mike. I went ahead and listened to the Cornerstone speech.
Yeah.
Which was given by the vice president of the Confederacy. And in the Cornerstone speech, he explicitly says that, in our Constitution, we put in, a paragraph, I'm paraphrasing, we put in some wording, stating that the Negro is inferior to the white man. He explicitly says that. So when people tell you that the Confederate flag is racism, it is.
Like if you're all for that, then you represent that ideology that we are inferior to you.
Yeah, no man
so
is above.
So of course I don't want to see that shit.
Absolutely.
Like I'm just so sick of people saying, "Well, what did we tear down the Martin Luther King?" But he went against you.
He went against you.
He wasn't about that.
Nope.
You know why? And I recently learned why they killed Dr. Martin Luther King. It wasn't about civil rights. It was about equal opportunity. It was economic inclusion is the words that I'm looking for.
And Russell just did it.
It was economic inclusion. It was all fine when it was all civil rights, but the moment he got all people together and said that, listen, we all want a fair share at the pie.
Right.
Fair share of the pie.
Oh, they stuck a bullet in him, faster than he could bat his eyes.
And the thing, and one of the listeners right now was saying, there's nothing worth, fighting for in this country has ever happened without a protest, and it's very passionate and persistent that that protesting is needed, because that's ultimately what happened during the American Revolutionary War was protesting.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there was protests for the Civil War.
Absolutely. It definitely was. Now, Russell, you've been on the show before, and back then, you've had a lot of great things going, and time has passed, and you're back. And I told you my platform is your platform, and I wanted to bring you back because you do a lot of great things in the community, as a community advocate leader, and my question is, like, what are some of the goals and missions that you're wanting to accomplish?
Well, thank you for the question. And like I said, it's always good to be back, and y'all are holding it down, doing what y'all do. I think goals for the community, first, keep the main thing the main thing. Mm-hmm. Don't let anybody, people try to misconstrue and control our narratives and say, oh, they're about this, and this.
Yeah.
But we keeping the main thing the main thing.
Yes.
The main thing is we want justice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We want justice across the board. Brother Floyd, it rolled over and got the whole world on track. where they said this is out of control.
Yeah.
You know, and so he's a martyr to the cause in a sense. But we want justice for Breonna Taylor in Kentucky. When people busted in our house with a no-knock warrant, which is the most difficult to get.
Yep.
Busted in there and killed her. We want justice in Georgia for Ahmaud Arbery.
Yes.
Brother who was jogging, and as that case is going, we find out he got hit with a car before he got shot.
Before he got shot.
So it's like, wow,
At that point, he running for his life already.
Running for his life.
So we want justice there, but we want reform for all of law enforcement. This is a recurring problem because the question is, what happens after the camera is off? What happened if they didn't record?
Yeah.
If they didn't record in Minnesota, you know what they'd be saying? Oh yeah, it was an accident. He did this. Or
He attacked us.
He choked himself.
And they do.
And you can't get a tape from them. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. They teach you in criminal law 101 how to write a police report, what to say, how to say it. You can't. He can't speak. She can't speak. So guess what? Law enforcement. You go at approximately such and such time. I approached such and such person. At this point, I was in fear of my life because which is why when you always say every officer, if you hear on tape, stop resisting. And how many times have we seen now on video where they say stop resisting? You're looking at like, he ain't resisting? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's what they're trained to do in law enforcement is to say, hey, stop resisting, follow my commands, be verbal about it so that whatever is being taped, they can hear it.
And
stop grabbing my gun. Stop grabbing my whatever. When in fact, if it wasn't for video, it's like you just lied on this report. So and it's crazy, which leads me to my next question for you, Russ, is that with police brutality, seemingly being a common theme mainly towards people of color and minorities, police reform is definitely needed. So why do you think police reform hasn't happened yet? Or it's taken this long for even it to finally be considered?
Well, I think initially it goes back to the origination of police and this.
Talked about it last week.
Right, we talked about that. Catch runaway slaves. Right.
Yes. And then as it matured, it was terrorizing blacks to hold them down.
It was never put in place to protect us.
Yeah, the military. The law enforcement has enforced the new Jim Crow and putting brothers and sisters away. That's why we have 45% of folks incarcerated are black. Yet we're 13% of the population. And, so you look at that. But you also got to look at the whole culture, that's going on. And it's including blacks somewhat too, right? And when you look at it, I've been told by retired officers that, they think about 10% of people in law enforcement are just bad apples. And those bad apples move up the ranks. And what happens is it's similar to the military. When your lead officer says something, you kind of do it. So what we don't know the answer to, and nobody's answered me yet, is what were those officers supposed to do? One of them was new to the force. He knows everything's bad.
Yeah.
But what's he supposed to do? Because I've never in life, in 4 decades on the planet, I've never seen an officer say, "Hey man, you out of control. Stop it."
Yep.
They
and the crazy part about it is we see it in movies. They even give scenarios where an officer tries to step in and is put in his place very quickly, and he has to follow suit.
Don't tell me what to do. And
right,
if you try to do it,
it's in the movies, so we know that shit ain't in the movies just for the hell of it. It's because that's what's happening.
That's what's happening. And last week we did with our guest last week, and he was like, he saw something. He was asked to tape a recording because that's what they were required to do. And before the recording happened, they beat the hell out of him. They beat the hell out of the suspect, handcuffed, everything. And he was like, yo, I'm not finna do that. I'm not finna record it, whatever. You can do it by yourself type of deal. I'm finna go tell my captain. And you know what the captain came back and told him? Just let it alone because, they're not going, you can't really do nothing. So now it's like, who do you go to and talk to about these issues? Because sometimes it may just be that sergeant who has his list of people, or it may be that lieutenant who has the sergeant and everybody else under him. And then when you hear the chiefs and deputy chiefs or whoever say, well, I had no idea. You know what? They probably didn't know.
Yeah. I see police reform as a two-part solution. Citizens need police reform and, interactions with the police. But I also feel like police need police reform. The blue curtain needs to die. All right. That way, when a person with good ethics steps up and say, "Hey, we got him in handcuffs now. You ain't got to stay on him for 9 minutes till he dies." They shouldn't be punished for that. Because that's right.
I mean, and it starts with the leadership. Because when I went to the peaceful protest in Kissimmee, and that was one of the things that the sheriff talked about. He was saying that in their training, he puts them in those situations. And if they don't interfere, they do it again and again and again until they get it right. They train on being in those situations. If you see your fellow officers out of line, it's your responsibility to step in there and check it.
And to add to your point, Morgan, that's one of the things that people are protesting for. Most people are not anti-police. They're anti-police brutality. Mm-hmm. They're anti-police unaccountability.
Right.
And that's one of the things that people are protesting for. Police need to hold themselves accountable when they make, big blunders like George Floyd. Also, police need to be able to intervene without being punished.
Exactly.
Because if someone would have, I strongly believe if any one of those officers would have been like, all right, that's enough. We got him. Let's get him in the car. The brother would still be alive today.
And that's and to allude to.
And how hard is that?
Yeah. And
why is that so hard?
And here's the excuse part of it. Now comes one of the officers that was there, that was charged. His lawyer is now saying, my client is not guilty because he told the 20-year veteran officer that, hey, I think we should turn him over now. I think we got him now. And his response was, no, you're going to watch this and nothing's going to happen. So as a rookie, he's only been on there for 4 days, they say.
Right.
And so now it's kind of like, do I listen, do I act morality and say, you know what, I don't care if I've been for 4 days, get off of him, or do I listen to the 20-year veteran that so-called knows the ropes?
Yeah.
I got to listen to
Me and my father had a conversation about that same gentleman. And, my father believes that he shouldn't get as much time or he should have a lesser punishment because he was following command. Mm-hmm. And let's say he did do that. You see what I'm saying? So it kind of puts him in a bad situation. But at the same time, I kind of feel like he got to get something.
Yeah.
You know what happens? Here's what: if all four of us go and rob a bank,
yes,
and it's TJ's idea. And if it's TJ's idea that we all four of us rob a bank, all of us getting the same time when we get caught.
Felony murder.
All of us getting the same thing. And
I've seen it to where you drive to the bank. I don't even go in, but you pull out a gun. I get the same gun charge.
And my thing is this: if everybody's so tough on law enforcement, they're so tough on everybody. We gotta hold. If they do the crime, they do the time. Then the same thing has to happen with these officers. Mm-hmm. They don't get a pass because they're in that profession. They've been doing wrong. Yeah. They never give us a pass on anything.
That's what,
and it's like, if we're going to call it fair, let's be fair.
All across the board.
He was a part of a man that died. And I'm going to tell you this. I know George Floyd's family don't want anybody to get off.
Nope.
You going to tell me you sat there with your knee in the back of my brother and you too dumb to say, hey, that's enough? You killing this man?
Because what's going to stop it from happening again and again and again? We know you're not going to speak up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the elephant in the room is the police unions. The police union.
I was just finna say that.
Yeah, in Minnesota, the police union
was like, he ain't did nothing wrong.
Yeah, no, they said they didn't get due process and getting fired. They support all of them. They further went on to try to demonize and character assassinate George Floyd. And I'm like, hold up. You're gonna try. This man got killed. You're gonna try to talk about him, and you think everything's good. You wonder why they burned your department to the ground out there. You wonder why they're talking about defunding the police in Minnesota. I see why.
I see why.
And we hear that with the union. And I gotta admit, the union here in Orange County, they came out, they condemned everything that happened up there.
That's
right?
good.
But right in Brevard County,
we just saw.
Hey,
Atlanta 6, all New York, y'all that got arrested and charged with that. Hey, Brevard County will hire you.
But
Come
see
on.
that I've been seeing that stuff, and that is a prime example of a police culture going wrong. That a police culture that's going to hell, if you will, where they're willing to take care of police in their wrongdoing, and that's got to stop. That's what people are protesting.
Because that means they're above the law, and if they're above the law,
and
then how can we have law and order?
It's not and nobody's attacking the police. What they're attacking is bad police behavior.
Exactly. We just feel like they should be held accountable.
And I'm going to champion that. I'm going to reiterate that to people until they finally get it, because like you say, Morgan, some people are trying to hijack the narrative, but no, I'm very clear. It's about anti-police brutality, anti-police inaccountability. All right? You shouldn't just get a slap on the wrist for killing a man and then go get a paid leave and go to the Bahamas. Meanwhile, and sip my mimosas, and my mama got to plan a funeral.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That's wrong. You see what I'm saying? And people are tired of that. Okay, I don't understand why that's so difficult. That when you kill a man unjustly. Not in self-defense. You know what I'm saying? Unarmed. Yeah, this guy, listen, I'm going to tell you what I'm scared of. This was my second point that I was talking about earlier. All right. Rodney King, 4 police officers. Caught on tape, all white jury acquitted him. I'm afraid that history could repeat itself. I don't want to see it. Because, once again, this brother had already been apprehended. He was handcuffed.
Not only handcuffed, he was already put into the back of the cruiser and getting beat down in the back seat, and then eventually being taken out where he was resisting.
Right.
Close the door.
He was resisting.
Like you said, the language they learned.
The language they learned in the academy.
So one of my trigger words. They know what to say.
They know what to say, because I don't really go, but I could tell you from personal experience. I had an experience where I'm on the ground with my hands out, and they doing all of this stuff, and I got my phone out. Oh, stop resisting! I'm not resisting. Nope. How can I be resisting and I'm on the ground with my hands out
like this? How am I resisting?
But while I'm on the ground with my hands out, they're still stop resisting. How the hell am I resisting?
They teach you that in defensive tactics when it's time to do your DT drills, because I was in the academy and I went there solely, what most people say, to try and make a difference when they say you can't beat them, join them type of deal. And so I did it thinking that I could make a difference. Went through the academy, learned all this stuff, and I'm like, they teach you how to de-escalate that. Why aren't you de-escalating it? And then I would see a video of someone that's white that does the same thing that a person of color is doing, and it's like, why aren't you trying to de-escalate that? But you getting your ass cussed out by this white person, and you just like, okay, no, don't do it, and then get kicked in the groin, drives off, and all the thing you do is get tased. Really? So it just comes to a point where police reform is definitely needed, and that there is definitely a systematic failure within the justice system, especially towards the people of color and minorities.
Say black people. I don't know why y'all be tiptoeing around the black people word.
Well, I'm gonna say black
people.
Folks. It's us black folk.
Black people, and you can say white people.
And white people. So at this point here, what steps are needed to create police reform?
So we several steps. First, keeping the pressure on. The protests are happening.
Yeah, they got a break.
Yeah. Protests are keeping the pressure on. The protests are helping. See, with the protests, especially all around the world, they're seeing this as a big issue. Mind you, you got people who have been typical racists who are coming out and saying Black Lives Matter. But you couldn't pay them to say that 5 years ago. Right. Then you have, so you got policy getting pushed at the local level where they're saying, let's ban chokeholds. Let's make it a way for anonymous officers to, leave a note to say, hey, I witnessed something, instead of them getting blackballed and pigeonholed.
Which is crazy because that means y'all know that shit was wrong.
And you're right. So now it's getting pushed up. And then at the state level, they're trying to push things, and the federal level, about this immunity. See, the police officers' Bill of Rights gives them an immunity that says even if they're a part of some crime and the whole department gets sued, they don't individually get sued if they're still at that department. So if it starts hitting them in the pocketbook, they're gonna stop it, because or if you start taking their pensions with it, they're gonna be like, okay, maybe I'm not as crazy as everybody thinks I really am. Let me put this sham down. I just want to oppress these brothers and sisters because I got this badge. It shouldn't get ignored, though, that while they're doing it with the badge, we got white supremacy. When you look at what happened in New York with a lady named Amy Cooper, when she decided to make up a lie and say this man who was bird watching, a Harvard graduate, mind you, he's bird watching, tells her you can't have your dog in the park. And she says, well, because you black, you can't even address me that way.
That's the norm now.
Yeah.
All you got to do is say, hey,
yeah,
I'm being attacked by an African American.
Yeah, she knew exactly what to say. She said, I'm going to show you. I'm going to put you in your place. I don't care about your family, your reputation, your job, your household. I'm just going to...
Because they feel we're undeserving any goddamn way.
So she made up, she knew exactly what to do.
Yep.
No different than the officers know how to say, stop resisting. She knew to say, a black man is attacking me.
Right, because we don't get the benefit of the doubt that he just walking by and she's lying.
Yeah, exactly. So those are the cold words. And now she's risked it all and lost her job. And she's talking about this affected my life.
When it's like, what
do you think you did to that man?
Right, because if he wouldn't have been able to record it, guess what? It was over for him because her word holds high,
That's it. So we finna go to a quick commercial break real quick, and we're going to continue discussing this and talking to our community advocate leader Russell Drake. We're gonna be right back. If you need to grab a quick glass of wine, cognac, go to the bathroom, do whatever you need to do,
smoking some weed,
and get some edibles or whatever you're finna do. Make it right. So we'll be right back. So keep it locked. The best is yet to come. Let's go. welcome back. Told you we're gonna be quick. I hope y'all
Quick.
got y'all refill and y'all went ahead and did a little tinkle
I
tinkle,
get
whatever
a
you need to do. Joining us in the studio is community activist leader Russell Drake. Thanks for joining us. And man, we're going to continue it because I mean we've had great discussions thus far, great knowledge, great education on things that needs to happen within the community. And you know, and it appears that, you know, when we're talking about some of the steps that are needed for police reform, it appears that, you know, some of those steps are starting to be made, you know, especially with the, you know, Congressional Democrat Party, who's now, you know, proposing and considering, you know, an emergency police reform legislation, as well as, you know, the New York Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah.
You know, he's pushing to pass the Amy Cooper bill, which is considered to be, you know, now a hate crime if you call 911 to falsely accuse someone based on their race. So those are just some of the steps that we need in order to, you know, start the police reform. And so, do you feel that police reform is only needed for the local municipality police agency rather than like the county sheriff's offices? Since you don't hear too much about the sheriff's office doing anything like that many times versus local police people?
Great question. I think it's needed across the board.
Yeah.
It's needed
Yep.
at every level. I think you hit it on the head earlier when you said the top individual sets the tone,
Yes.
but that person won't always be there. And there are people that can trickle up the ladder. So it's needed at every level. And
Yes.
and I got to give a shout out to the people who are out there every day, the community leaders, your namesake, TJ Legacy Cole, Miles Moraine, LaWanna Gelser. These folks are out there every day in the trenches,
Yes.
in the rain. They've been pushing the issue. Like you said, there's some people who are, they see it's in style to go on out here to
Go out here and
protest.
get this
So
photo out real
let me
quick.
Get a photo
go
out
on
and be
out
like,
here and put BLM, you know,
Yeah.
they look, and I saw somebody saying that anybody selling Black Lives Matter shirts, and I'm like, hey, we've been wearing them my whole life, man.
And now you
know.
want-
Yep.
Yeah.
So you know, but there are people that've been consistently through it. And it's like I got mad love and respect for them because they pushed the issue. You know, we had a protest Saturday that had 10,000 people
Yep.
downtown.
Yes, peaceful.
No
Peaceful.
issues.
No issues.
No negativity.
No arrest.
You know, everybody on the same accord. And you know, there probably was some people out there who wanted to start something, but they was like,
They see it, they-
was a lot of them.
Right.
There's a lot of them, so let's go on and bag back.
Yeah, like we
know.
welcomed it, you know, encouraged it. It was like, come out here with your MAGA hats if you want it. You know, it made
Yeah.
We ain't
it
gonna
made
do nothing to
Same
you.
thing. The KKK said they were gonna show up in Birmingham, and they were down there waiting on them because they got to realize this ain't back in the day.
Yeah, we
This ain't-
free.
this
You know?
ain't-
We
this ain't
free,
back in
and
the
we
day.
are not scared of y'all.
It's like exercise your rights if you want. but
And
if
I think some of us are more scared of losing our freedom.
Yeah.
You know, like me, I've been free too. I don't know what it's like to be that oppressed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you can't come knock on my door and say, "Come get in my field."
We don't even want to quarantine. Shit.
See, we
What
don't
you
even
talking
wanna
about?
do
We
that.
like, you want me to stay in the house?
What?
How many days?
I
Yeah,
know.
you know,
and so
you know.
they.
That's too
you know,
close.
So, because like right now they're talking about, you know, besides the police reform, they're talking about, you know, defunding, you know, these, you know, police agencies. Like, I get it, but what are your thoughts on, you know, defunding the police agencies and letting the county take over per se?
So it's different areas, different things. In Minneapolis, I think it may be necessary. I'm a fan of the quote, "You cannot build on sinking sand." So if you see the sand is sinking and sinking, you just got to scrap it and start over.
Yeah.
So in Minnesota, when I hear the city council talking about we want to defund them, they know more about it than us. So hey, I go with you on that, and it doesn't mean it's going to be like that.
Well, they say
forever.
police are controlled by the city council, right?
Yeah, with
One of my
with the
followers
budget.
just
So
said,
Yeah,
if they
absolutely.
want to cut them out and only, you know, use the county services, and then do some form of community policing as well.
You know what? You know,
I don't know. When George
really
Zimmerman-
quick, I just want you to reiterate
Try that.
that because
Try
you
that.
know, you just kind of educated me, And a lot of people, when you say defund the police, they get the misconception that there's no police, but we forget we got a county police department and a city police department, and the city might say, okay, we won't have a city department,
We're just gonna have
a county department,
which is the county sheriffs.
yeah,
Right.
So that's the part that we're talking about. So when you do have those arrests made by the local PD or maybe even the county sheriffs, let's talk about the systemic failure within the justice system. Do you feel that reform is also needed within the justice system?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm gonna give you an example. Here in the state of Florida, it's the third largest state in the United States. We have 20 state attorneys. 20.
Yeah.
There are 20 state attorneys. There's only one black one that's been in the history of the whole time that we've had it. One black female, one black person, and we got her right here in Orange County
Right now.
and she's going out of office, right?
Yeah, because a lot of people don't like what she's doing because she's going against the grain.
Yeah, but she's stepping out of it. So then you got 4 people jockeying for the position. And if you ask me, if you've not been to one protest, if you've not made affirmative stances in the community in the last 10 days, don't talk to me about saying I want to be the state attorney.
Don't talk to me.
Don't come to me about that. If you think the people out here were wasting their time and effort and you couldn't come out,
don't even do it, because that's exactly what I was going to talk to you about a little bit later in the show, which is the fact that these politicians or these councilmen, these judges, these state attorneys, everybody that's on the ballot trying to get on the ballot, or those who are trying to get reelected, we as a people have the right to sit down and say, hey, I want a meeting with you. I want to be able to have a tabletop discussion with you to find out what is your black agenda for the black community. What have you done since this? Or what is your agenda is going to be now? And why should we vote for you?
Yeah.
So that in itself, plays a lot of power to it, because that's what you as a community advocate now is to get those people educated to say, hey, guess what? Get out and vote. Don't vote because I tell you to do. Educate yourself. Learn who's on this ballot. Find out. Set up these meetings, and get out and vote. What do you got to say about that?
Well, here's the thing. So there was a state attorney speak out 2 weeks ago, and all but one person showed up, right? And it was like an insult.
Yeah.
And then there's one that's happening on Thursday. And it's like, if they're not taking their time right now when they're running, if they get in there, they ain't going to take no time for you. And so the importance of the state attorney's office is that's who presses charges or doesn't press charges.
Yes.
So when you look in the case with Ahmaud Arbery, the people that killed this man were not charged and arrested for 74 days. 74 days.
Because of the people that were in those positions and that saw, oh, they did a good deed. Attaboy.
They can sweep it under. But I'm like, 74 days? I'm like, think about that. That's 2.5 months. These folks could have discarded evidence. These folks could have done anything. I'm like, unbelievable. But with the right state attorney, they say, oh no, you coming in here right now.
And
people start saying, well, what do we charge him or her with? Hey, you know how many black people done got arrested and ain't
for that same exact thing?
No,
for a whole lot less.
For nothing.
For a whole lot less.
Just bring them in.
Just bring them on in, because this.
Because they got the benefit of the doubt that it could have been a mistake, even though we saw the video. Well, no, it could have been there could have been a legitimate reason why.
If you running somebody down in the pickup truck with weapons,
right,
and you hit them.
It's like, no, let's see what the reason was. Let's see if they.
That I don't understand. Like I saw.
That's the problem.
In the case of Ahmaud Arbery, I saw the defense make an argument that Ahmaud Arbery started the alter. How?
Right.
He's not in the pickup truck with a gun.
Right.
And trying to chase somebody
he has
down.
No weapon.
That's
he
how
didn't
you
get
start.
Hit. He didn't get hit with a car.
That's how you start an altercation.
Yeah, you
like,
go and
then you
follow
play
somebody.
victim.
Oh,
right.
What did I do?
That's it. When you decide to exercise your rights, then I can't believe he attacked me. We only had 3 shotguns and we're in a truck. I can't believe he attacked me.
Right.
You know, and people are saying, well, he should have had a gun. I'm gonna tell you what, if he'd have had a gun, it really would have been worse, because then they would have said, yeah, now I had to do this.
Right.
Even though you started
I
it.
had a reason.
You know, it's like you started. It's like that's the videotape of Trayvon Martin right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, they say I'm sure there was a video somewhere anyway, and people just didn't want to show it.
Yep.
But yeah, it's like you followed this boy.
But there's a recording of them saying, "Do not follow." He follows anyway. He gets out of a truck and approaches.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and according to his story, there was an altercation, and he was getting. You know, allegedly Trayvon was getting the best of George. Well, that's what should happen.
You're getting your ass whooped.
If you, and that's what I hate about.
The black, we can't even defend ourselves.
You can't.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part about it, because now one of the questions that's coming from from the listeners is that at what point can you call self-defense against the police when they are whooping your ass unjustly?
They are so protected in their wrongdoing.
So what? I mean,
you are forbidden.
There is no
there's no self-defense against police.
There is everything will be resisting, battery on law enforcement.
What was you told last week? Do like your mama told you.
Now
And
you know,
nice.
but my thing has always been just thinking. You always meet the right one on occasion. You know, it's like when you meet the right one, some cat that's a judo expert. Then it's it's gonna be like, oh man, I stepped to this guy, now he cracked my neck in half, he put my face through the concrete, and I thought I could take him because I was a foot shorter than him, so it's like when you meet the wrong person, it will get done, you will get done like that, and it's a sad thing across the board.
Perfect. So before we go, just let everybody know how they can follow you on Facebook and some of the things that you got coming up so they can follow it. How can they follow you on all the social media platforms?
Okay, so you can follow me. I'm just at Russell Drake, RussellDrake, on Instagram and Twitter. On Facebook, I'm Russell Drake. I got a public page and a personal page. And, right now I'm in a campaign where I'm supporting a black business every day of the week, highlighting them and the good things. And actually the business I'm going to be supporting today is the TJ Chatman Show. Because of the great work they continue to do, because black media matters.
Absolutely.
And we got to tell our story and stop letting other people tell it from it and painting our narrative.
Yes. And that speaks volumes. And I definitely appreciate you coming on the show. And real quick before we go, just want to go ahead and let the listeners know real quick that, a very good friend of mine is putting together a protest march in downtown Sanford, and that there's going to be a meeting with city officials and the Sanford PD tomorrow, and I'm going to be a part of that, and they're looking for community leaders, artists, poets, as well as photographers, videographers, and sponsors for the event, and they're not asking for any money, anything like that, but we just want people that want to be a part of this movement. So I will definitely have more information as it, unveils after this meeting tomorrow to make sure that, everything is good to go. And it's going to be at Fort Mellon Park in downtown Sanford. So next week, man, join us again. And thanks you again, Russ, coming on the show. Funny man in the chair, Loose Cannon, my beautiful co-host, like always, rocking that natural. And you need to continue to rock it, because that makes you even look more astonishing. Love it.
You look like you copied our hairstyle today, TJ. You trying to copy my dog swag a little bit.
Hey, but I love it though. So till next week, I'm your main man, TJ Chatman. So keep it locked. The best is yet to come. Let's go.